Happy Valentine's Day from Borrego Springs, California. I crossed back over the border at Calexico on Saturday morning, the 12th. And it was quite the experience being in Baja for nearly 2 months. I learned so much, and it was so unbelievably beautiful, desolate in places I was at, unbelievably humbling to be so remote on the Divide Trail for days. And the beach is just incredible, the wildlife, all that. The natural beauty is amazing. The driving is very challenging, whether you're on the highways or off-road, man, it is a challenge. Baja will reveal any weaknesses in your rig, and it did reveal a few. My heater core popped on the Baja Divide Trail. It's no big deal. It's like one of the few original parts in here, which, in case you don't know, a heater core is like a little tiny radiator, and the rattling in the off-road just popped it. So I bypassed that. That was no problem. I didn't need a heater down there. And I'll get that rebuilt when I'm in Seattle at the radiator place that rebuilt the main radiator. And let's see, I dropped a starter bolt on the trail. I came up with a trail fix for that. I'll square that up in Seattle as well. Popped a pinion seal, is leaking. I mean, it's a rough pop. But all in all, the truck did amazing. Ended up on some four-wheel drive sections unintentionally that were pretty top-notch, and she crawled right through them. Amazing. So yeah, truck did great. Brought me back with really no issues. Let's see. I'm back early though. I had intended to be there another week to 10 days longer than I was. And one of the reasons I'm back early is because I had the broken stuff that I had to deal with, and I came up with fixes that are holding just fine. Get out of here, fly. But it wouldn't have been wise to continue doing the Divide Trail knowing I had those little issues. So, I had like 5 days of Divide Trail planned going from the Pacific coast on the west side of the peninsula over back to hook up with Highway 5 or Highway 1 again, and instead ended up just going up the 1. So logistical things kind of got me back earlier, but the biggest reason really is that I wasn't able to do portraits down there. And I love taking a few days off and having just a break to just breathe and experience a beautiful place, but to be out there that long, nearly 2 months, and not be serving my purpose, it just started to feel like this endless vacation. And I know some people are thinking, are you nuts? That sounds great. Well, yeah. I love the outdoors. I love the wilderness. I loved exploring the culture. I walked every street of every town I was in. Santa Rosalia, San Ignacio, Mulegé, Loreto, La Paz. I was in La Paz for nearly 2 weeks, and I walked that whole town, even though it may sound crazy, but I did. And I just absolutely love the people and the culture. But I learned a lot. This trip ended up being really a research trip for Jackdaw as far as shooting in Mexico. And what I have learned, I've addressed it a little bit in my story feed, but I wanted to do it in this a real YouTube video, is that they don't have facilities down there like we do in the U.S. for, that I found, at least not in Baja, for domestic violence shelters, homeless shelters. And I did find a couple English-speaking Mexicanos to ask about this, and their point was, if a woman is needing to get away from her husband, or the family takes her and her children in. That's the culture down there. If your daughter is being abused and she's got to get out, she comes home. That's just what they do down there. It's not like in the States where those women with their children, women just by themselves, end up, homeless. So it's very different. And also with the language barrier, me not being able to speak fluently, it's just impossible to truly convey that, I'm not doing these pictures for my profit. I'm not talking about doing portraits. They're going to end up in some agency or some publication somewhere. So I wasn't able to do it. And for me to just be roaming around, as much as I was loving where I was at, I didn't realize how much that would work on me to not be serving my purpose at the same time. Because the whole idea behind Jackdaw is, yeah, this is a merging of my passions. My passion for mechanical stuff and vintage vehicles, my passion for travel, especially overland travel. I love traveling slow on the ground. And my passion for creating portraits for families that could never hope to have them at the point in their lives they're at with their kids are little. And that one turns out to be way bigger than the other two to me. So, you know, I couldn't just keep lingering and lingering there, as gorgeous and glorious as it was, as wonderfully fun as it is, even though it was challenging. It is tiring when you can't speak the language to be in another country for a long time. It just started working on me. It's like, I got to get back to where I can be doing this work again. And so that's the other reason why I cut my trip short, is really a reason of the heart, that I want to be doing the portraits. And so I'm going to be back in San Francisco here in another week and getting portraits set up. I'm setting them up now with different agencies there. And then, of course, I'll be in Seattle after that, doing it for all the agencies I shoot for there and trying to expand things. But what I learned in Mexico, what I'm going to have to do, number one, I'm not returning to Mexico until I can speak Espanol fluently, reasonably well, enough to explain myself and what I'm doing. And at that point, what I'm going to do is set up shop for outdoor portraits for families in these little neighborhoods, because all these neighborhoods have little communal spaces. It's really cool. I'm just going to sit up, I'll have signage, and it'll be like, hey, here's the deal. And families can come and do portraits. And that's just how I'm going to have to do it down there, unless I actually do find agencies that can facilitate this stuff. But I didn't find anything like that on this trip. So maybe mainland Mexico, bigger cities may be different, but Baja, it just isn't, my traditional way of doing this isn't going to happen. But that's fine. We all have to be adaptable. And I learned a ton and fell in love with the people and the culture. It's just wonderful, really wonderful. So anyway, wanted to bring you up to speed. Thank you all for your support while I was out doing this. I made lots of connections, got lots of exposure for Jackdaw, which is good. Gained more patrons along the way. Thank you so much, my new patrons. I mean, it's making a huge difference, because I really got to meet my Patreon goals to be able to keep this going beyond another year. So keeps getting better little by little, and I appreciate you all so much. And I just wanted to wish you a happy Valentine's Day, even though this is posting tomorrow, which will be the 15th of February. Anyway, you get the idea. And wishing you all a great day. And I'm stateside now, so hey, you're going to be seeing Hella running up the West Coast now for a while. Later.